So that night, Miss Kitty was again lounging in my driveway. I gently shooed her out of the way, pushed the garage door opener, and pulled in, punching the close button as quickly as possible so she wouldn't follow me. Miss Kitty wasn't even slightly deterred. She slipped under the door just before it closed. I knew then it was time to take action. Loss or no loss, Miss Kitty needed to relocate back across the street. Approaching the corner where she had disappeared, I spoke to her. "It's okay," I reassured. "It's just, you can't stay here. I've told you before, you already have a home. It even has a special entrance for you." My cat patient didn't reply, but simply looked over the discarded car seat with unblinking eyes. She didn't seem interested in a conversation. Suddenly, I got curious. "What are you doing back there?" I asked. Reaching in to pat her, I heard it. Stopping, I leaned down and listened closer. Yes, there it was again. Pulling away the old piece of luggage, I peeked into the corner, and there, lying on an old car mat, grabbing greedily at Miss Kitty, were her 3 kittens. It's fair to say I was stunned. I sat back on the cold concrete and stared at them. They were making little muffled noises as they kneaded their tiny paws against their mother's stomach. They were focused completely on getting some milk. After all, they hadn't eaten in hours. I had been locking their mother out in an attempt to set her free, while all she'd wanted was to get into my garage and care for her tiny family. Looking back, I don't know why I hadn't thought of it, even considered it. Sometime between their birth and Sunday evening, Miss Kitty had decided my garage was a sanctuary and moved in with her babies. They were each different, these 3 tiny creatures. One was pure black, like her mother, and the smallest of the bunch. We ended up calling her Sweetie Pie. She was clearly the runt of the litter. Another had white on her paws and around her mouth, reminding me of all the white mustaches proudly displayed in milk commercials. We named her Got Milk? The last one was beautifully striped, standing out in the dark family with green eyes and the look of a wild animal. We named him Tiger. For the next 8 weeks or so, Miss Kitty and her babies took over the garage. Once the kittens figured out how to climb over the obstacles that kept them safely in the corner, they set out to explore their concrete home from top to bottom. As they wandered around, I would often discover the little Houdinis hiding in old bricks, behind boxes, or on shelves behind my work gloves and trowel. Sometimes they would jump down to greet me or chase a toy into the middle of the floor. I began parking outside the garage so they could have the uninterrupted use of their new home. All the neighbors came to visit. They had great advice for someone who knew nothing about taking care of cats. Toys, food, and litter boxes were recommended and provided. Claritin became a regular routine for us all, along with avid hand washing. The old room that had housed lawn products, a workbench, and my car became a ballroom of life. Eventually, we found homes for the little family. I was later told that this was nothing short of miraculous, as there are many more cats in need of homes than there are homes who want them. Someone was watching over this special litter. Miss Kitty and Sweetie Pie were adopted by a family with two small red-headed boys. When they first saw the cats, they ran toward them with such enthusiasm and so quickly, I was worried the kittens would be trampled. And then, unexpectedly and with the utmost care, they gently reached out to stroke the soft, dark fur of their new friends. Got Milk and Tiger went to a home in the country where they are now practiced mousers. I hadn't realized how hard it would be to let go. After all, I had tried my best to convince Miss Kitty and myself that they didn't belong at my house. In the end, it felt like I was losing part of my own family. I sometimes wonder how it all happened. God had surely answered our prayer for Miss Kitty to have her babies before Spay Day. But how had Miss Kitty known to hide her most precious possessions in the corner of my garage? It's not like she had spent any time in there before. She'd always been more of a driveway and front porch kind of cat. Was it simply persistence on her part and some desire to relocate from across the street? Or, when promises are made, whether out loud or in the heart, are they somehow sensed in the animal kingdom? Miss Kitty was never concerned with my rejection. She insisted on making a friend from an enemy, and the result was safe haven for her children. I have now expanded my thinking to include the possibility that some angels have fur and live with their kittens in your garage, if you're lucky enough to find them. I'd hate for you to miss the blessing. You might want to be on the lookout for wings that rub against your ankle and occasionally that make you sneeze.